Ainsley, our student representative, has some things going on tonight. She has asked if she could give her report first, so we're going to let her proceed.
Thank you. So, in recent events in the school, on November 16th, the craft fair took place as a fundraiser for senior scholarships. November 17th, the production of Beauty and the Beast finished, and there was also the senior citizen luncheon. Tonight, there are the parent conference, and that's going on right now, and NHS has 4 volunteers providing childcare services for the teachers. In future events, on November 23rd, there's the Quiz Bowl at New Hampshire Quiz Bowl League at Hanover. November 24th, there's the championship football game at UNH. November 25th, winter sports practices begin. November 25th, All New England Band Festival at the Silver Center at PSU. November 27th is a half-day of school, and the 28th and 29th is Thanksgiving break. On December 2nd, there is an SCC meeting at 5:15, and December 9th is the winter concert at the Silver Center at PSU at 7.
Thank you very much.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, there is a lot going on.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Ainsley.
Thanks. So I guess we'll start with facilities, and Walter has agreed to chair that.
All set, Mr. Chairman.
Minutes from the October 15th. Got those as written. No. Facility update?
Yes, facility is doing very well. All the improvements that we made are working out just fine. Everyone seems pretty happy with how it's going. John has turned on the wood boiler, so that process has begun, and everything seems to be going well. Outside, Blake is searching for the stone for Chuck Monahan's plaque, so that's a process of finding the right sort of stone. We have the location where we would like to put it with your approval, and when we're ready for that, we'll have you take a look at that. But we're appointing it sometime in the month of May when everything comes back and campus is at its best. So that's that. Also, in the budget that I'm going to give you today for next year, you will see facility improvements in the area of the gates. Right now, we have chains across the back gates. When we had our unanticipated drill with Plymouth Elementary School earlier, that was a real issue. As emergency vehicles were trying to come up different streets, the chains were across and they were locked. So there's a proposal to put some new gates there with gates that open up with the right codes. And so that will be in your budget. And also some improved lighting for right behind you in the back of the school for the back parking lot area. And that also will be, has the ability to be used as a practice facility in the spring before we go on to fields with that lighting. So that's really it for the facility. Our bus that we ordered is still not in yet. There was a strike. And so we're waiting for that bus to bring our fleet up to the number we've always had, and also the van that's been ordered through a state grant through Kim DeSalvo. That's in the process of being ordered. So other than that, facilities in good shape.
Thank you. Any other business? Next meeting will be on December 17th at 5 o'clock.
All right. Thank you, Walter.
Madam Chair, it's possible I can move the program to staffing. I have Michael Foyle present.
Sure.
And I need Michael back in the gym.
So your program is staffing, Marie?
Yep. All right, I'd like to call Program and Staffing Committee to order. Agenda review and disposition.
I'm all set.
Okay. And if there are no amendments to the minutes of October 15th, they will be approved as written. Changes? No? Okay. Algebra course offerings.
Madam Chair, just before, Michael's been working very closely with the administration as he works towards his certification in administration leadership, but he's also worked very closely with the administrators in the math department on this presentation you're going to see tonight. They have the full support of both myself and the superintendent. Michael?
Thank you, Mr. Parsons. Thank you, Madam Chair, and I appreciate you guys. I know there's a lot to go over tonight, so I will try to keep this brief, but we're seeking your guys' support in some changes to our program of studies in our Algebra 1 class. If you look at the two documents in your packet, the first one is a course description for a new class that we'd like to implement for next year. The foundations in algebra, which will end up taking place of the Algebra A and B 2-credit everyday course that we run right now. The foundations in Algebra 2 below that would be the second class in that process that would take place of our Algebra 2A. Both of these are foundational courses. The major change that we're looking to implement, though, is that the foundations in algebra course would only be a 1-credit every other day course. What we're seeing right now is that we have a large number of students that they are limited in their schedule because we only have one section of the AD course that doesn't allow many kids to move into that need that foundational level skill before they can move on and progress. So we'd like to give them a little bit more opportunity. What that would do is open up more sections of that and keep the class sizes down. Instead of having, I think there's 19 to 20 students right now in the class that runs every day. So if that were to potentially break apart, that would open up some seats where kids could get that foundational level, access to what they need for their coursework. And on the second page of the packet is a flow chart that basically outlines where students can start in their 9th grade year in their math course options. So right at the top would be the foundations in algebra, and then below that is Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and Algebra 2 honors. Those are really the 4 starting points for all incoming freshmen in math. And then as you go across the matrix to the right with 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade, it kind of shows you the path that every student could take. So we really tried to make sure that we created a pathway that was possible for every student, to meet their needs. So by bumping that foundations course to every other day, the path that they could take the next year in 10th grade is they could move on to the foundations in Algebra 2, which would be very similar to our Algebra 2A class right now. Or they could go to Algebra 1 as a sophomore, basically giving them that extra year of the foundational skill, practice remediation that would still allow them to progress on that pathway. So that's really the major change. The only other change on there is 11th grade. Well, first of all, this year, what you guys know, that we did switch geometry in Algebra 2. Algebra 2 was primarily a junior course, and we switched that with geometry. So the foundations in geometry is the old basic geometry. It's just a name change. That's just to be consistent with all the other courses that are called foundations. There's no other changes in that. So that's really what we're looking to do, hopefully with your support. And I think, again, it gives us a better opportunity to allow the students to have some more success with what they're doing as they go through high school.
Question for Michael?
Yeah, could you clarify for me? So foundations in algebra would be an every other day class.
Yes.
What is the purpose? Are there other core courses that they need that they wouldn't be able to fit this in? I guess because it's a block schedule anyway, they would be in every other
Right.
day.
So this would actually free up
Got it.
more
Okay.
time for them to take some other electives if they.
All right. So not every. Yeah. All right. That makes sense.
How many freshmen actually get into Algebra 2 honors?
That's a great question.
That would be, I guess right now we have, I believe, 2 sections, and top of my head, I guess it was somewhere around
30.
30, so 30 to 40, yeah.
Out of how many students?
And this year's class, about 65.
That's better than half.
Not bad.
Wow, that's great.
Why was it algebra 2 and geometry? Why did you switch them?
So we switched those in an attempt to get more students through Algebra 2 before they took the SAT test.
Okay.
Yeah. And it would be the teacher who teaches foundations in algebra to help them determine which direction they'll take in the following year.
Yeah, so the teacher recommendations would act the
Okay.
same as they would
Okay.
right now.
Okay, great. Any other questions for Mike?
So look for promotion.
All right, do I hear a motion then to, so this is adding Foundations in Algebra as a new freshman year course
There'll be no financial implications.
with no financial implications, Peter?
So we have Walter, Phil, and Barbara.
And I get a motion from Barbara, second by Walter, thank you. All in favor? Aye? Okay.
What's going on with the school board?
Is that going on? Okay,
Yes.
so that was just to move on to the full board.
There's a full board.
Okay, all right, thank you. Where am I here? So, math progression, that was filled in with that, right?
Yes.
You did that, okay. Other business?
We will in non-public session, Madam Chair.
Okay.
We have the nominations for winter coaching positions.
Okay. And you'd like to do that after the full board?
Yes.
Okay. And our next meeting, committee meeting will be on the 17th of December. And a motion to adjourn the committee? Walter? Phil? Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Adjourn.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
So we have policy and budget.
We do indeed. Policy and budget is, to me, it's been called to order or whatever. Agenda, review, and disposition, any changes on
All
that?
set, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, approval of minutes of October 15, 2019, any changes anyone would like to make? I move accepted. Policies, board member conflict of interest.
Yes, as you know, we are being audited, Department of Ed, both the State Department of Ed and Federal Department of Ed, a routine statewide audit really being driven by Washington. And there's a checklist of policies that have to be approved by the legislative body, by the governing body, so that we comply with all the statutes in terms of receiving federal grants. We either have, we don't have a policy, or the policy that we have is not strong enough. And, so we have brought forward to you three policies for tonight: the conflict of interest policy, records retention, and the employee reference and verification. So I guess we go one by one through these policies. I don't need to read them to you. If you take a moment, I'd be happy to respond to any questions. The conflict of interest is pretty straightforward, and it has a separate paragraph on nepotism. And it's not that any of these issues have been targeted by any of them. It is, they want policy on record that we have policy.
Are these look like they're probably forms from the School Boards Association? Okay,
Yep.
great.
And their notations at the bottom saying based on state case.
Right, that's what I assumed, that they'd already done the research on all this, come up with model forms
Right.
for school boards around the state to approve.
Exactly. And if you dial your TV into other places, you'd be seeing the same activity going on right now.
Okay.
Does it matter which policy you speak to? On the employment references, if fourth line down speaks about probable cause of the leave,
Right.
how exposed is the district if an employee, teacher goes and applies to another district, and we refuse to give a recommendation on probable cause, and they don't get the job. Does that open us up for any liability?
I think we're open to be very honest. When we're in a position like that, we work hand in hand with Barbara Loman in her office in terms of what we should be doing, what we shouldn't be doing. I think the intent is that folks aren't moving along bad actors from one district to the next.
Right, oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And so I think there's enough code language between superintendents and others that we all know what we're talking about. So.
But then for that reason, would we need this language in here?
Well, again, I would defer to the School Boards Association. I'm not an attorney, and
Yeah.
they're saying this will cover you. So that's the best answer I have for you.
Okay, fair enough.
My preference would be, since they've already done the research for this, they have their own attorneys to do it, they've drafted model language, is that barring any unusual circumstances, we should go with the language that they suggest.
Yeah. Why reinvent the wheel? So this would be considered a first reading,
Yes.
and it will go to the full board for a second reading?
No, it would go to the full board, reported out as a first reading. We'd have it again here next month, and then we finalize on it. So it'll allow you time to read.
We have someone who would like to address the school board. Could we put her ahead of the budget draft?
Sure thing.
Sure thing. Okay. Bonnie?
Oh, okay. You want me to kind of repeat what?
Might as well.
Yeah, I'm here mainly, I've never been to a school board meeting. After I got my tax bill, I decided I better come to the high school and the elementary school to find out why it went up so high and what can be done to, because if this keeps going and going and going, I don't know, maybe there's a lot of people who have a lot more money than I do, but, you know, if it keeps going like that, I'm not going to be able to afford this.
Bonnie, what town do you live in?
Plymouth. And I like Plymouth. I don't want to have to move. So I just didn't know, and I understand a lot of it came from the elementary school because of special needs. Is there anything that can be done, or is this just a crazy snowball that's going to keep going and you can't stop it?
Well, there is something to be done, but the reality of right now that we can control is that at the elementary level and the high school level, everyone gets to vote on the budget. The issue, let me move to the elementary side first. Quite frankly, the issue with the elementary school is the argument has historically been class size. And folks, and Maureen, you've followed this argument for years. There are folks that come to meetings and vote and say, you know, class size of 20 is okay. And then there are folks that come and say anything above 13 or 14 is much too high. And so we have that philosophical argument over there. And it becomes about the number of people in the gym voting on the budget. So in fair, if you really want to look at the issues, there's a class size issue, you know, what's an appropriate class size? And right now in Plymouth, for all the grades but one, there are 3 sections of all the grades. Some would argue there only need to be 2. Special needs in Plymouth Elementary School is very high. I think it's a direct reflection in the number of transitional housing units that are in the community. Plymouth is a hub for an entire region, and lots of people move here, and those folks want services. And so it's very different than a person who moves to Bridgewater it's not a hub. It's just some people live there, and they also have a living. So it's the nature of the community. Plymouth taxes will always be high based on the nature of the community, and if we continue to tax ourselves based on property tax. So there is Plymouth's share of some one-time state money is coming in for this year. So there will be about an extra $275,000 in adequacy aid. It's a one-time from the state. That'll be applied in both places. Some of it will be used at the elementary school, some of it will be used at the high school based on the formula. But I think, and I live in Plymouth, we all love living here. It's very convenient to live in Plymouth. But the taxes were high when I got here in 1985. And it hasn't changed much because, quite frankly, of the way we tax ourselves. And that's every town for itself. One of the questions I can't answer if people call my office and say, how can this possibly be? The tax base of Plymouth shrunk by $2.1 million last year. And people are driving by Tenny Mountain Highway and looking and going, how can that possibly be? I don't have an answer for that. All I know is you tax what's on the land on April 1st. So if everyone began construction on April 2nd, that's not taxable land for this year. But I don't know why the selectmen or the folks in town hall could easily explain why the base went down by 2.1 million. And I'm not pushing it off. That's the reason the taxes are high. It is. The significant spending increases at the elementary school. There was some, the town and the high school spent about the same amount of money in terms of increases on their budget. But the elementary school was a much larger increase than the other two entities.
So does the public vote on the school board budget? You know, like we go to town hall, vote on the town.
Yeah, it's just like the town meeting. There's a school district meeting at Plymouth Elementary School, and that's the first Monday in March, 7 o'clock. It's not well attended.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
First Monday in March?
Yep.
And what'd you say, 7:30?
7.
Yeah, I wrote things down. All right, and that was elementary?
That's the elementary, so that's the K through 8 budget.
Yeah.
The 9 through 12 budget, which is this high school, we vote on the second Tuesday in March in the voting booth at Plymouth Elementary School.
Okay, second Tuesday in March.
Right. Town meeting day. And you come in and you get a ballot to vote for selectmen and school board members. You also get a ballot from this school district with the budget laid out there. You check yes or no on.
Okay.
All right.
Second Tuesday in March, so that, you don't know what that is, March, whatever, I'll just go home.
It's usually
My calendar.
it's usually the, I don't know, 13, 12, 14. You have to look at the calendar.
Okay, so these are both of the budget vote for the school.
Yeah.
Both of them.
And then the town votes at town meeting, and that's usually the night after. It's usually the Wednesday after we vote. So we vote on Tuesday for our officers, and then Plymouth has its town meeting that Wednesday night.
Okay, so
And that's usually at 7 o'clock or 6:30, something start, but that's all posted.
so there's 3 voting.
There's 3. And then the other piece of your bill is the county tax.
Yeah, what is that?
That's up in April, and they have their own process, and I can't speak to it. I see the postings. But that takes place up in April.
County tax, but I mean, what is, I don't understand what county tax is to you.
Well, they oversee all the things the county is responsible for, the court system, the judicial system for the county, land records and deeds. There's a senior center up there, senior home that they oversee. So the county has statutory responsibility for certain.
So basically what I'm hearing is, I mean, it's good to come to these meetings and vote, but bottom line is, there's nothing anybody's gonna do about it. It's gonna go up and up and up just because you got special needs kids and you've got.
There's a lot of things, yeah, there's a lot of things that we have to assume that by law. You know, you can look at things, there's all kinds of things that we have to assume by law. There used to be a lot more state, I'll give you an instance, for the retirement system. The state of New Hampshire used to subsidize the towns for the teachers that are in the retirement system. That subsidy's been pulled away. And now all of that commitment is by the towns. And way back when, they sort of said, you know, you need to be in the retirement system. And since you're in the retirement system, we'll help subsidize that. And in later years, they completely pulled that away. They also did it for police and fire. So there's a lot of things the state of New Hampshire used to do for cities and towns that they do and don't do anymore. If you went and visited the selectmen, they'd say we used to get what's called revenue sharing. And that's been gone. It popped back for a year. I think there's a little bit this year out of the surplus, but it's one-time money.
So there's no way to get any of this stuff back, get any grants?
Well, the legislature, yeah, there is, if the legislature voted to do it, but you have to have a funding source to raise the money. And New Hampshire has been somewhat adverse to raising taxes.
Okay, I mean, I appreciate this, and I was hoping that, some of it could be, but I feel like I'm just more confused than I was.
Yeah, I mean, class size, at the high school level, the number of FTEs, the number of people that actually work here is controlled and recommended by the board. But we have some, this year, for instance, there'll be a drop in a little over two FTEs. But that's incremental. If you get one special ed case that comes through the door, it wipes that savings right out.
Yeah, I realize that.
Yeah. So.
Okay, then.
Let me just mention, there are public hearings that you can come to before the budget is set also for the high school and the elementary school.
I would like it. Does anybody have any, do you have like a schedule or anything?
I do.
Yeah.
You do.
I mean, so that it's not, just, I get home and say, what did I mean by that?
Yeah.
I don't do this short. And what are special needs exactly? Or it just has a big range?
It's a statute, I keep reverting back to the state law, there's the timetable. The statute calls for a whole process to see if the student is in need of special education, and that responsibility at this level runs from age 3 to age 21. So, person qualifies, it's responsibility of the school district.
So they just have like a learning disability?
Yes, learning disability, physical disability that impacts their ability to learn, and a lot of modifications involved.
So that means special ed teachers for those children?
Teachers or programs or out-of-district placements, where they're actually sent to other schools that are approved by the state. And that, quite frankly, that's the category of the budget that we sort of hold our breath on, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because there's transportation involved, and again, we could be responsible for someone through their 21st birthday.
Okay. And what was it you said about what kind of meetings?
Just on that list, there are some budget hearings that the public can attend to get clarification on certain budget items and...
That's the area where public can speak about. These are all different. This is when we receive the budget here at the board. This is when our committees discuss it. These are all public meetings, and you're welcome to come to any of them, but when you can actually speak up at the hearing, that's when people can input. And
that's right here?
For the high school, it would be here, and then the meeting in January, it'd probably be downstairs in the cafeteria.
Okay, the budget.
But in this building,
Okay, in the cafeteria.
And the elementary has their own...
Elementary has their own
hearings, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And, I guess, so is my time up? I mean, you gotta go to, this is gonna be public at one point.
What, this?
Yeah.
Sure, be on TV.
Oh, so I don't have to leave, right?
No.
I didn't know that. Sometimes at the selectmen's meeting, they say,
Yeah.
okay, now we're done with you.
Well, we're gonna get into that later on.
Huh?
But we'll be doing that later on, but not for a while.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, getting back to policies, do I hear a motion to bring those 3 policies to the full board?
So moved.
Second?
Am I on that committee?
No, you're not.
I'm not on that committee, sorry.
We need Phil.
Yeah.
Oh.
What are you looking
And
for,
Bernie.
motion or a second?
You make the motion, Bernie
Yeah.
second?
All in
See,
favor?
I'm not a Phil.
Committee we're talking about. You got her chair, I got her committee.
Okay, fiscal year 21 budget draft number 1.
This is gonna be a big one. Yeah, this is gonna be the big one.
Yes, one is.
You? Thanks.
Let me just walk through this and then be happy to respond to any questions. The cover sheet is a quick overview of appropriations and revenues from sort of a macro viewpoint. Appropriations are obviously those line items that we wish to spend money on. And for this budget, it's down $192,330, or 1.2% from last year. Revenues are down significantly. I've not put an unreserved fund balance into this budget. We will be doing that at a later date. You have over $200,000 in retained funds that you carried in from the following year. That's usually the number that we use for the unreserved fund balance. But we'll do that later on if you authorize. Cat aid, we are not expecting catastrophic aid from the state this year, so that's about a $51,000 difference. All of our programs in-house right now and out-of-house are not qualifying at the moment. We'll see if that changes. Vocational tuition, our expectation is based on enrollment, it'll be down $5,000. Medicaid, at the moment, it's in a complete stall, but we're expecting, when we look at our Medicaid revenue, we expect following year will be down about $20,000. And tuition is a significant hit on the revenue side. As you know, we were building about $450,000 at one point to Waterville Valley, Warren, Ellsworth, and quite frankly, those kids have graduated and they're not kids coming to take their place. So next year, we are expecting 5 tuition students at about $20,000 apiece. A couple from Warren, a couple from Ellsworth, and one from Waterville Valley. And that's just the nature of where the kids are. So you can see that's a $275,000 hit. So at the moment, revenues are down $600,000 or 14%.
Mark, can you speak to why catastrophic aid is not coming in?
The cutoff points for the state, the number of programs that we have, we're not hitting the cutoff point to the state to get some of the reimbursement. Remember, it's 3.5 times the state average of an education. So if the cutoff point is programs above and beyond $75,000, at the moment, they're not projecting it.
Okay.
We're doing an awful lot in-house now. And so what we've been doing is funding in the tuition category, the 1200 account. But if we keep the kids in-house, you'll see that money doesn't go anywhere, but you have overages in the operational lines. So we've always funded worst case scenario, and that's why you had, like last year, about $500,000 available at the end of the year. Half of it went to unreserved fund balance, half of it went to retainage, because we managed it in-house. If they were to go out and those programs are $150,000, $160,000, $200,000, that's when we would qualify for catastrophic. Okay. We've had those programs, but we've managed 3 to 4
Fort,
Frank.
right, located back here.
That would probably be out to the new facility, that we're keeping them in-house. Right.
How much money would you say you save on keeping a kid in the facility and not getting CAT aid in that situation? How does that balance out?
We get about 60% of the dollars above and beyond 3.5% of the state average.
Okay.
So if we save $100,000, that's our savings. If we spent that $100,000, we get $40,000 back.
Okay.
So it is a significant help for us to keep folks here.
Yeah.
The next page is just some highlights of appropriation lines that are, when you go through the budget, you'll say, oh, this is up. This line is up. So let me walk through. Line 108 is technology. It's a 1100 account, and that's technology upgrades and replacement of computers. So that's strictly operational in the building. Contracted services, that is for behavioralists that will come in and work with special ed students from outside. It's a contracted service. If the student moves away, we're not committed. That's the end of the contract, and we save the money. So that's how we like to handle that situation. This is a new category, brand new line item for us, 1270 account, and this is $24,000 for English language learners. This is a person who comes in and works with students that have moved here, and English is their second language. In the athletic account, 1420, there's an extra $10,000. That's contracted services. Those are the fees and bills that we get from referees. Their fees and costs are going up. 2163 speaks for itself. It's occupational therapy that comes out of the special ed IEPs, an extra $10,000. In the 2321 line, $52,000. That's the SAU account, and that is for the new position of Director of Technology and for cybersecurity. We have, as you know, at the SAU meetings that we've had, we've been very, very fortunate to patch together a security process, but it now is the time. It's a $43 million business with a ton of electronic exposures. Now is the time that we need to have someone here that is securing the entire operation. That's social security numbers, that's all the records of our kids. School districts have had that information hijacked and had to pay a ransom to get their information back. That's the kind of thing that this person in this role would help us avoid. We are secure at the moment, but we need to do a much better job of it, and the time has come that we need to not ham and egg this thing and make sure that we're as good as anybody else. In the 2410 account, extra $9,000, that's for your NEASC accreditation visit that will take place in October of next year.
Mark, how often is that done? Once every 5 years?
Every 10 years.
Excuse me, Mark, could you go back to the SAU position?
Sure.
That 52,000,
Right.
That's shared by all SAU towns.
Right.
Is this just the Plymouth portion?
High school portion.
That's
That's the high schools.
The high school portion.
What's the total position
The
cost?
total position cost is about $144,000.
Wow.
That's not
But
the
that's for
salary.
cybersecurity.
No, I understand that.
Oh,
It's
it's not
everything.
just the
I
salary.
understand that, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the lower end of that cybersecurity market.
This is our portion of the 52, the high school.
Of the entire SAU budget. The majority of that is the new position.
Oh, okay, so this is inclusive of our share of the total SAU
Yes.
cost, not just the position.
Exactly, yep. The next line, 2620, $47,000. You'll see that it's up. That is for discussion. Those are the new security gates. and also upgrading lighting in the back parking area. And we'll have a conversation about that. The 2620 account, again, that's in operation for the building. That's replacement of networking equipment within the building for all of the wireless and the electronic operations of the building. As you know, our contract with Neil Robertson has expired, and we're in the marketplace now, and the real costs of the marketplace are beginning to hit us. The 2700 account, that's regular student transportation, that's up $46,000. Those are the yellow buses that go around for 180 days and pick up our kids. And then our special ed transportation account, that's by IEP, that we have to provide transportation for individual students. That account is up $109,000. Okay. The next form you have is the revenue sheet. Let's draft one on the top of it. That will change over time. Again, we will continue to, we'll get a sense from you whether you want to release that retainage and use that as unreserved fund balance in the next budget. So that's a decision you make. I don't make that decision. We'll continue to look at catastrophic aid, and also we'll monitor 8th graders that are in the school districts that send their kids to us above and beyond the membership. The next form, it says draft 1, and that's the...
What is the New Hampshire Public School Infrastructure Fund?
That is the, do you remember the governor was giving out grants for security upgrades?
Okay.
And we upgraded the front doors and put the window in right there. That was, we got $100,000 from the state. And we're not getting anything this year. Good question. The next form is the core budget, and this is the impact of what the high school tax rate could be if all things stayed the same, with net valuation staying at 2019. And so you look down and say Ashland could go up 41 cents, Campton 28, Holden is 7, Plymouth 11 cents, Rumney would go down 7 cents, Thornton would go up 39 cents, and Wentworth would go up 26 cents. So that's basically the spread. The entire budget is up 4.29%. Do you see that? Where you can actually see assessment increases. It's in the second, it's right under Penny Baker assessment. It's in the little block. You go to the category right underneath it, and you look at the 2021 Penny Baker assessment versus the 1920 Penny Baker assessment. And you can see the assessment increase at the moment is $612,000, which is 4.295%. And that, again, is driven mostly by lack of revenue. And then you go down underneath and you take that assessment increase. So we'll look at Plymouth, and Plymouth would pay $3,292,317. And you take that down, and then you subtract the education adequacy from it of $1,228,732, which means Plymouth's assessment would be $2,245,491. Everyone see that? Mm-hmm. And you can follow all the member towns. The next form is the 21-year history of medical rates. A real driver in the budget. As you can see, the guaranteed maximum increase for our pool is 6.9% next year. The pool average is 8.5, so
It's at the end of that.
And then the other forms in front of you are budget timeline. And enrollment projections with a net zero walk-ins and walk-outs. And that's just based on our SAU enrollment at this moment, but I have to tell you, it's run pretty true to form. So right now, we started this year with 636 students, projecting 649 for next year, and then you can follow the numbers now. The next form for you is the rotation of elections and seats that are up. It's a 3-year term in Rumney, and then, which has 1 seat. Then there's a 1 2-year term in Holderness, Plymouth, and Camden. The next form is the 12-year history of assessment increases and decreases. Over 12 years, the average increase in the assessment has been 2.35%. Last year, again, it was up 10.79%. It was the first year of their CTE bonding. And special education costs ran pretty high. The next form, unreserved fund balance, used to surplus. Over the life of the district, beginning in 1990 through the 2019 tax bill, we've returned over $4 million. $4,021,569 has been returned to reduce taxes and unreserved fund balance. This chart, this is where the money is. These are full-time equivalents, and they're by account. So you can see the 1100 account, that's regular ed. We are proposing reducing it from 39.4 to 37.4. We've got 3 retirement/resignations, and we're proposing to fill one of those positions. Now, those are positions. You know, what department those 2 cuts come in, you know, we'll make a determination, but we're going to, with the enrollment number we have, we feel confident regular ed can be met at 37.4. If you walk down the rest of the columns, they basically have stayed the same or have gone down. 8 in special ed, 6.4 in applied tech, 5 in guidance, 2 in psychology. Ed median, the 0.4 has been eliminated, it's 1.0. The tech position, 2, applied tech, that's Randy Clare, 8.1, and the opposite principal is principal and 0.6 athletic director. Then the support, those are all the aides and custodians, and that sort of, you don't need me to read that. It's gone from 43.7 down to 43.2. Yes.
What percentage of our student body is would be considered special ed?
It fluctuates between 15 and 20%.
And is that historically gone up? Because I look at the positions now are 22.8 and they used to be 14.9.
Yeah, I would say that the number is relatively the same. The severity of a number of the programs is increasing.
Okay.
The other side of that is what was talked about earlier, as you know, that we're bringing these kids back in house saving money. You got to spend money in order to,
Correct.
you know.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. But that contributes to that.
Absolutely.
That number.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Where does the SRO show up on these
It
charts?
doesn't. They're a contracted service. They're not an employee of the district.
What's SRO? What's SRO?
School resource officer.
And what's the cost? Well, will we get to that later in the...
Yeah, I get you the cost right now. It's toward the end of the budget.
The proposed for next year.
For next year?
Or you can get it another time.
Yeah, it's projected at $56,473. And the elementary school picks up the other side.
The town doesn't have to, the town will have to vote on that again as a separate item.
No, it's in the budget. Historically, Bernie, once they vote, we honor that decision. And then you have your budget line item by line items, close to probably 800 or 900 line items. That you walk through. So the story of this budget, quite frankly, is the operation of the building is about the same. The story is the revenue is shrinking, and the biggest impact is amazing that 2 years ago we were building $450,000 in tuition, and we're putting $100,000 in for revenue for the next fiscal year. That's a heck of a hit. But there's just not kids out there coming from other places. Waterville Valley at its peak is sending us 8 kids. And, we're expecting one. Their enrollment is about 17 for the kids for high school.
Wow.
Which is a story for another day, in another place.
What is that tuition rate for the students?
It's about $19,000. It's the, whatever the cost per pupil was on the MS-25 the previous year. That's what we charge.
Mark, are those students going somewhere else? Like,
No.
there's
They're not
no
sure.
8th graders coming in?
Yeah, it just,
If I may help, I got a wonderful letter from the 8th grade class from Warren, inviting me down to present a program. So I turned it around and I invited all of them up to the school. So rather than me just go down and talk about it, I'd rather have them come up and see it during the day. So I work with their principal, and after the hallway, the entire class, I'm going to go down and pick them up by our bus, our van, and walk them through. They have an opportunity to go to Woodville or Rivendell. And I know both programs went down to the school, made a presentation, but I thought it would be more meaningful by having the kids come to me, and then I'll take them through the building and show them what it is.
How many students are there?
There are eight students in Warren that are eligible for, and the way that works is, I think the town picks up 13 to 14.
yeah, Warren will pick up the price. They have a contract with Woodsville. And so Warren will pay whatever they're doing in Woodsville, and the parents have to pay over and above that. And we bill the parents, and we do that. It's a significant, the parents pay about $4,000 above and beyond what the support is from the town of Warren. So, and we do have 2 students, so it's quite a commitment on the part of the parents to send their students here. Not only the $4,000, it's also quite a trip game, so I applaud that.
But one of the things we've talked about before too, I mean, with the declining enrollment, roughly it's gonna be around 600 above, below, is the capacity of this building is 1,000, correct? So there is the potential, for talk, because people talk in the community, to have 7th and 8th grade in this building.
Yes.
If we wanted to.
Yes.
Which would create some efficiencies in all the towns.
Yeah. I was in Rumney last night, and,
Yep.
and the Rumney board spoke about consolidation. They would like to host. They're building a new building. They would like to host, but as I told them, way back when, the Groton kids used to come down Groton Hollow Road and go to Russell Elementary School. And so, and that Newfound would pay the bill for how many kids came. But then at some point, probably in the mid-90s, Newfound said we're sending buses out to Groton to bring them into wherever we're going. I think they go to the Bridgewater Evening School now.
How many students are in Ellsworth now?
Ellsworth has 10. There are a couple here at the high school, and the others are scattered between Campton and Plymouth Elementary School.
Yeah, that would be feasible, but running because that road, out there.
No, actually, there were a couple of kids that used to go to Rumney, Peter, but the Rumney facility at the time was so small that they didn't have room for them. So the kids...
They're doing the new school.
Yeah, so the Ellsworth kids, Campton and Plymouth both charged them, I think, $17,000 each to go to that school, to their school. So Madam Chair, Mr. Chairman, that's the introduction to the budget, and we can get going on it at your next week.
Yeah, any questions anybody have on the budget? Bonnie?
Well, in this packet, is there a separate page or whatever that lists the revenues, or?
Yes,
Okay, and I missed it. Is it in with this one
it's
somewhere?
early on, that's the appropriation. This is the revenue. Your second and third one in. There it is.
There it is.
Yep.
Thank you. For one page, okay.
Is there anything else to come before this committee at this time? If not, I will look for a motion to adjourn. Second? We're adjourned.
Thank you. No.
All right, so I'd like to call the Pemmy Baker Regional School Board. Agenda review and disposition.
I do need the non-public session, Madam Chair, for personnel, maybe for nomination of winter coaches, and for 2 students who petitioned to participate in athletics where we don't have an organized team.
Okay.
No, one second.
Oh, I thought maybe.
You're welcome to stay if you'd like.
Little instruments, little camera will shut down too. It's not you and I don't
We have the minutes for the non-public and the public session portion of the November 5th meeting, and unless there are corrections or amendments, they stand approved as written. We've already had our student report, superintendent's reports. What's that? Yes.
Superintendent report, already?
Yes.
So much fun, you get sick of my voice.
Sorry.
Does everyone have the 2019 tax rate sheet? Okay, I can't get it out. Do you have one more?
I think I did. Yeah, I have it.
Okay. This is the final assessment from the Department of Revenue Administration into the tax bills that everyone's been opening up. So overall, high school budget went up 10.79%. And the assessments went out. And down below, you can see the impact of the budget. Taxes went up in Ashland 48 cents, Camden they went up a nickel, Holderness 27 cents, Plymouth 45 cents, Romney went down 16 cents, Thornton went down 11 cents, and Wentworth went down 22 cents. If you turn it to the next page, there's a story behind the law numbers. The top box is what we said in March when we went to the meetings and said, this is how much this is going to cost you. So folks in Ashland thought they were going to pay 64 cents a thousand, they ended up paying 48 cents a thousand. The folks in Camden thought they were going to pay 79 cents, and they ended up spending a nickel. And said, well, how can that be? Well, they had significant net valuation growth. They either revalued a portion of the town, or they had some incredible growth. But they had 12.75% increase in the net valuation, which added almost $49 million to the base. Thus, it drove it to a nickel. Holderness, they thought they were going to pay 33 cents a thousand, they ended up paying 27 cents. Plymouth thought they were going to pay 68 cents, and they ended up paying 45 cents. But also, as we talked about earlier, there was a decrease in net valuation of 2.1 million. And no one ever really saw that happen. In Rumney, they thought they were going to pay 44 cents. They actually went down 16 cents. But also, they had growth in their net valuation, and that was a community reval, as I understand it. It went up 11.16%, the net valuation. Thornton thought they were going to pay 75 cents a thousand. They went down 11, but they had significant growth in their net valuation. That must have been a total reval, Walter, of $61 million. So their base went up 16.53%. And Wentworth thought they were going to pay 52, they ended up paying 22. So that's the story of the numbers. Madam Chair, we'll continue to work with the revenue. For the board, when we really start to talk about budget at the next meeting, earlier you made a decision on that retainage number. Quicker that budget increase will go down a little bit. So I'll get you the exact number that the auditor is certified for us, but it's well over $200,000.
Mark, can I ask a question?
Sure.
That Medicaid situation, like, is that just going to be stalled? Like, is that?
No, it seems to be moving, Kristen.
Okay.
And the new forms that are coming out, and Kim Self has done a really nice job staying on top of that. So we have a little bit of flow. We probably have about $20,000 right now in flow. It's just flowing very small. It's about making sure the orders are written by people that are expected to write the orders.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, yeah. That was all figured out.
The Department of Ed now has caught on. It's fairly serious, and it means a lot to local communities, so they're starting to get a little more.
Oh, okay, good.
And that's my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Parsons?
I think Ainsley did a wonderful job for me. She filled me in with everything. We have parent-teacher conference going on tonight. Still another hour left. Parents are coming in. I need to tell you today we had an emergency activated panic security system went off. The police responded in great numbers right away. It was, we don't know how, the button went off. There are a number of administrators that we have this system that we're able to contact immediately. So they're investigating that. They're taking a look at maybe faulty equipment. We don't know. But the police responded immediately. Did a great job. And I did make an alert. I called all the parents and emailed the staff. But again, it is traumatic to, especially in today's world, to see those police cars coming down the hill. But they did a great job. So if you hear anything on that, that was the report on that piece. And I just have some brochures that we're passing out tonight too, that Officer Jill is working with Julie O'Brien and Michael Curry on a vaping program that we're constantly hopping on with kids on that piece. And I think that's it, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Committee progress reports. Now, those were all televised earlier, so I guess we'll just go over the motions that are coming up from committees to the board. So for policy and budget, thank you.
Yes, Madam Chair. Coming in from policy and budget, we'd like to do the 3 new policies. Board member conflict of interest. Number 2 is data record retention. And number 3 is employment references and verification. We had a first reading, I understand it goes to the full board, and then they have a second reading, and the full board looks at it. And we'll do it again the next meeting. I'm not quite sure the process.
We'll do the first reading of the full board tonight.
Right.
And then, unless there are any questions, do we need a motion to approve that first reading?
Yes, please. I'll
So
make that
there's a
motion.
motion seconded by Walter, so all those in favor of approving that first reading? All right. And that's it from policy and budget, and then program and staffing.
We are voting on a new course. It came up from committee, Foundations in Algebra in 9th grade. And course progressions have shifted slightly with that.
All right, so coming from the committee is the motion to approve the new course. All those in favor?
Aye.
That looks like it's unanimous also. SCC?
They'll be meeting in December.
Any other items, discussion items? Board member concerns? I do have one thing to talk about. I have it somewhere, I'm sorry. I got the dates for the school community council meetings, and I have done 2 sheets up. One is, if you wish, we had talked about how we were going to cancel representatives from the school board to school community council. So they do have, they like 2 board representatives there. So if you have the interest and would like to sign up to attend some of those meetings, please sign up there. If you're more interested in the manifest, we only have December, January, February, and March left for the manifest this year. And we only have 4 SCC, School Community Council meetings. So depending on where your interests are, I only need 1 person to sign up for each month for the manifest. I need 2 people for SCC. So I'll just, rather than start in the middle, I'm going to pass it around here.
How did we end up short on the manifest?
Oh, because I wanted to give people the option to stay with the manifest or move to SCC. So we're not really short, I just,
Oh, okay.
you know, if you were on, if you know what month you were before. No, I think we just need to start fresh. And if there are any questions, please ask.
I do it in June. I do it in June usually.
And we go by year, so we'll have another sign up in, isn't that how you do it, Mark, with the manifest? Don't you usually?
Yeah, someone has it for a month and then come in. Just
Be
run
shy.
it down.
You guys stay.
Jen sort of keeps track of all that.
Yeah. Which is when we have the new elections.
Those manifest things.
I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think of that, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
Privilege of the floor?
Oh, no, somebody did.
No, okay.
I'm gonna,
I guess, do I hear a motion to go into non-public session for personnel? So moved, seconded by Peter.
not sign.
All those in favor? Barbara, yes, 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 yes.